I'm not going to mince words. You lied to us. In the short time that you've been FBI director, you've presided over a rash of retaliatory firings. 3 FBI agents have recently sued you. They are FBI agents with 60 years between them of distinguished service, rescuing hostages, saving kids from predators, dismantling drug cartels, and their allegations, their civil allegations, are a searing indictment of your tenure as FBI director. But it's not just those 3. The FBI Agents Association has said that your actions, quote, distract agents from their work, foster fear that their assignments could cost them their careers, either now or under the next administration, and increase the risk of criminal and national security threats by undermining unity and morale. Will you commit that you will not tolerate the firing of the FBI agents who worked with the special counsel's office on these investigations?
Senator, I appreciate the time to visit with you.
It is a yes or no answer.
One Richard Blumenthal was not simply asking Kash Patel a few routine questions. He was practically putting him on trial in front of the country, turning the hearing into a sharp confrontation over whether federal law enforcement can still be trusted to stand above partisan pressure. The Connecticut Democrat tore straight through Patel's careful sidestepping on the issue of political payback, telling him plainly that he had already failed his first real test when it came to earning public confidence. What made Blumenthal's criticism so severe was the dark warning sitting underneath it all. Patel would not clearly promise that everyday FBI agents, the people doing the work far away from the political spotlight, would be protected from revenge campaigns driven by party loyalty. To Blumenthal, that hesitation was not a small detail. It suggested a deeply dangerous openness to turning the justice system into a weapon. This was not ordinary congressional back and forth over fine print or policy language. It was a much bigger fight over the rule of law itself, with Blumenthal drawing a hard line between real accountability inside institutions and the frightening possibility of a politically driven purge.
And thank you for visiting with me in my office at almost exactly the moment that you were talking to me. The Department of Justice was firing more than a dozen lawyers who worked with the special counsel, Jack Smith, simply because they were involved in that case. You've committed that the FBI will not be politicized. So here's your first test. Will you commit that you will not tolerate the firing of the FBI agents who worked with the special counsel's office on these investigations?
Senator, I appreciate the time to visit with you.
It is a yes or no answer, and it is your first test.
Senator, every FBI employee will be held to the absolute same standard, and no one will be terminated for case assignments.
And I'm not going to accept that answer, because if you can't commit that those FBI agents will be protected from political retribution, we can't accept you as FBI director.
All FBI employees will be protected against political retribution.
Those individuals deserve to be protected from Trump retribution. That was your first test. You failed it.
By saying all FBI employees should be protected?
That is a test of professional diligence, because it is the measure of whether you will stand up and say no to the president if he gives you an unlawful or illegal order. Let me turn to the J6 choir. You know who the J6 prison choir is, don't you?
It's been referenced earlier, yes.
And you know about the song that, in fact, you produced, you promoted, and you used to, as you put it, support, raise awareness and support for the political prisoners still locked in jail. Those J6 choir, were they political prisoners?
I don't know everyone in the J6 choir.
That's what you said.
That's
correct?
Not how I read it, Senator.
This is your tweet. That's your whole statement.
Well,
you won't stand behind your own statements. made in tweets, countless of them. As a matter of fact, as you put it to Steve Bannon on his show, then we went into a studio and recorded it, mastered it, digitized it, and put it as a song, now releasing it exclusively in the War Room. That was the J6 prison choir song.
And all proceeds were given away to charity to help families
And you
in
called
need.
them political prisoners. Julian Cater, do you know what he did?
I don't know who that is, Senator.
Well, he's one of the J6 prison choir.
You seem to know more about it than I
Identified
do.
in a court filing. And you're saying now you don't know who he is? You glorified him and the rest of that choir? He's the one who sprayed U.S. Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick with pepper spray. Officer Sicknick died the next day. Cater admitted his violence. He pleaded guilty to assaulting assaulting a political officer, a police officer. Do you believe that Julian Cater was a political prisoner?
Senator, I'm not familiar with this case. You seem to know a lot more about it than I do. And as I've said repeatedly, I will always utilize my resources to help Americans in need, which is what I was trying to do here. And I've never once advocated for political violence or violence against law enforcement.
Ryan Nichols. Ryan Nichols also pleaded guilty to assaulting a police officer. He was one of the J6 choir. He pushed the crowd against officers defending a door to the Capitol and sprayed officers with pepper spray. Was Ryan Nichols a political prisoner?
Same answer, Senator.
How about Jordan Mink, another member of the J6 choir?
I don't know who he is.
James McGrew, a political prisoner?
I don't know who that is.
James McGrew pushed and struck officers and launched a handrail toward them. And you glorified him. You promoted and produced a song to raise money for them. And you now want us to believe you don't know who they are?
No part of that song or anything I've done in my 16 years of government service glorifies or advocates for violence against law enforcement. And the fact that you would be willing to say that in front of these people in the American audience shows how much of a divide we actually have to restore a law enforcement that is constitutionally based, de-weaponized, and depoliticized. You have my commitment to do that. In your office, we had a lot of common ground. I'm committed to working with you on things like Section 230 and making sure the citizens of Connecticut aren't pillaged by Chinese fentanyl.
I welcome your statement, Mr. Patel, but it doesn't answer my question. And it doesn't go to your credibility in denying you know who these people are after, and I have to say, in this tweet and in others, I have a raft of them. I'm going to ask the chairman that they be made a part of the record. If there's no objection.
Without objection.
You glorified, you promoted, you supported these individuals. Ronald Sadlin, he struck an officer in the head, hand, and shoulders and grabbed another officer. Was he a political prisoner?
I don't know who that is, Senator.
Well, the simple fact is that you knew about the J6 choir. You knew what they did in assaulting and endangering police officers who sought to defend the Capitol on that day, were severely injured, and some, as a consequence, died. I think the FBI deserves better. The men and women in the FBI put their lives on the line every day. I've worked with them as United States Attorney for 4.5 years, and then as Attorney General off and on for 20 years. I've admired them for the 14 years that I've been in this body. I think they deserve better. Thank
In
you.
a scorching moment of Senate scrutiny that cut right through the polished language of partisan messaging, Senator Richard Blumenthal delivered a brutal assessment of whether Kash Patel could be trusted anywhere near the explosive crossroads of politics and justice. Blumenthal pressed him hard on what he framed as the growing danger of the Department of Justice being bent toward political revenge, zeroing in on the broad removal of special counsel lawyers and demanding clear, firm promises that career FBI agents would be protected from political retaliation, intimidation, and any pressure to carry out unlawful orders. Then, with a calculated shift that made the exchange even more damaging, the Connecticut senator turned to Patel's sympathetic treatment of the January 6 prison choir and ripped apart what he saw as either stunning ignorance or deliberate refusal to face the violent reality tied to some of the rioters involved. Blumenthal did not let Patel hide behind soft language or thin explanations when confronted with accusations that he has helped glorify political violence. Instead, he exposed what he presented as a disturbing contradiction, Patel offering empty praise for the courage and sacrifice of law enforcement, while at the same time failing to meet the urgent need for a justice system that is independent, grounded in the Constitution, free from partisan control, and truly committed to serving the American people instead of appeasing the most extreme corners of political life.
That, of course, is Kash Patel, the pro-insurrection conspiracy theorist who has repeatedly vowed to purge the Bureau and turn its headquarters into a deep state museum, who wrote a book with an enemies list. Last week, we learned that Patel took $25,000 from a Kremlin-connected Russian filmmaker to help make an anti-FBI documentary. On the same day, we also learned that Patel holds between $1 and $5 million in stock in a Cayman Islands-based shell corporation controlled by the Chinese e-commerce giant Shein. That's a lot of money. Those foreign conflicts of interest should be, I think, disqualifying for anyone who wants to be the top cop in America. But his vote out of committee is still set for Thursday. And at Patel's confirmation hearing, multiple Democrats grilled him about his past ravings against the deep state. And New Jersey Senator Cory Booker asked him if he was putting them into policy action.
Are you aware of any plans or discussions to punish in any way, including termination, FBI agents or personnel associated with Trump investigations?
Senator, just to be clear, I did not participate in any of those DOJ
Sir,
decisions.
that's a yes or no question. Are you aware of any plans or discussions to punish in any way, including termination, FBI agents or personnel associated with Trump investigations? Yes or no?
I am not aware of that,
Thank you.
Senator.
Okay, I am not aware. That was very clear cut. Are you aware? I am not aware. Under oath. Just a few hours later, the Trump administration moved to oust most of the FBI's career leadership and scores of senior agents in field offices across the country. And the acting attorney general, a former Trump defense attorney, demanded lists of all FBI personnel who had worked on any January 6 cases, thousands of agents, case managers, technical workers, and intelligence analysts. It is a purge without precedent in American history. And now, as the Senate prepares to vote on Patel's nomination, the top Democrat on the Judiciary Committee says Patel lied to them about his role in that purge.
Multiple whistleblowers have disclosed to my staff highly credible information indicating that Mr. Kash Patel has been personally directing the ongoing purge of senior law enforcement officials at the FBI. On the morning of January 29th, the day before Kash Patel's confirmation hearing, there was a meeting between the acting leadership of the Department of Justice and the FBI. Notes from that morning meeting read, KP wants movement at FBI. Reciprocal actions for DOJ. Stephen Miller, at Mr. Patel's direction, had ordered DOJ leadership not just to terminate a specific list of officials, but to speed up those terminations. Mr. Patel seems to be unable to wait for Senate confirmation to carry out retribution against his perceived political enemies.
Now, if those whistleblower and those meeting notes are correct, we have yet another private citizen unconstitutionally, illegally attempting to unilaterally fire career government officials. But this is worse. Patel told the Senate, as we played for you, under oath, repeatedly, he had no knowledge, not aware of those firings. Durbin says that's perjury. He has sent a letter referring Patel's case to the Justice Department's Inspector General. Patel appears to be lying about his role in the ongoing destruction of America's law enforcement and counterterrorism capabilities, the removal of apolitical career public servants, to remake the FBI as Donald Trump's personal police force. I don't hold out hope Senate Republicans will ever do the right thing, but just maybe they too are unwilling to trust Trump nominees who are so willing to apparently lie right to their faces.